Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Another week talking about Week 7 college football last week, and we're going to be talking about Week 8 of college football coming up. Some great games. We're going to be talking about Ohio State and Oregon and that little that fun game to watch there. We got the Arizona State and Utah game. Alabama beating the Gamecocks just barely. A few other games as well with the Week 8 games as well. We got Texas and Georgia coming up. Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Illinois. There's a lot of good games this week, so we're going to be covering those for you as well.
Arguably the best college football weekend of the year, outside of rivalry weekend.
Rivalry weekend, yeah, and then I always like watching the conference championships as well. That's always fun, but there's not a lot of football that week.
Well, those weekends kind of get muddled these days, you know.
Yeah,
so
sure
we'll say those 2 weeks right at the end of the season.
Exactly.
Just wish I had nothing to do but watch sports, but somebody dragged me over to the Jambalaya Cook-Off.
Sad life, man. Sad life. Jambalaya Cook-Off this weekend in Lake Carolina. If you're listening, go on down to it.
1 to 5.
Tickets are what, $10 in advance and $15 at the door or something like that. Or
For good cause. For a real good cause.
It's for. Is it going to? Who's it going to?
Anthony Grebe, a cancer warrior, a community leader, the gentleman who started up MJ's Bar and Grill, where we used to
allowed us
every
degenerates to raid his place every Tuesday night. So
That's right.
Yep.
So we are making the best living in the world being sports podcasters, as you all know. But you know what? That is our goal, actually. So if y'all want to help us do that, you can do that by buying us a round of drinks. That'll start helping pay our tab as well every week. And you can do that through
greenbacks.
You can do that through Venmo at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Surprisingly, our website is www.guysatthebartalkingsports.com. We also have a group on Facebook. It's called Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. So somehow I got all of those names. It's not, I mean, you would think someone else would have came up with that sports podcast, right?
They're not as cool as us.
I know. So anyway.
When does the merch store open on the website?
That's what I need to do is figure out as a merch too, you know? I tried it once, but this was back in season 1. Now we have like at least twice as many listeners as season 1.
Maybe even 3 times.
Exactly. All right, let's get some introductions going on here.
12.
We got the boat whore himself here. That's his new name, the boat whore.
That's like name 10, right?
And he was once called, we used to call him Mountaineer, Mountain Mama. What else did I have
Country
for you?
Roads.
Country Roads.
Is
The
there,
whole 9
is there,
yards.
is there a name behind? Is there a story behind boat whore?
Boat whore. Tell us the story, boat
Every
whore.
time he sees me on the water, I'm in someone's boat. I don't
Someone
have a boat.
else's boat.
Someone else's
The
boat.
best kind of boat is somebody else's boat.
Damn
Yeah,
right.
but the only
He's a smart boat whore.
Smart boat.
but the only boat I haven't been in
Is my boat.
is his.
What?
Surprise! Yeah, I mean, but then again, this week on Sunday, Amy and I were going out, and I said, you know what? Maybe I'll go pick up Brian if he's out on the dock, and he was not.
If you do, make sure you buzz the dock 3 down from his.
Oh yeah,
Wide ass open.
love that guy. Yeah, for
Please,
sure.
please don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you'll never hear the end of it.
No, please don't do
All
that.
right, easily the biggest boat whore I know. We'll stick with Mountain Mama for his name. All right, how's that sound? And then we also have the Rebel. How's it going, Rebel?
Hola.
Sorry about Outstate, man. They don't seem like they're what you expect them
Gonna
to
throw
do this
that in
year.
early, huh?
Been a lot of discussions, and I finally think I have it. Maybe not.
Come to terms with it.
They're Florida State.
They are.
They
Florida
threw
State.
more resources into the transfer portal this year than they ever have, and they're not panning out, and they're not meshing. You think about it, teams back when you recruit them in, they mesh, they played for 4 years, they got some camaraderie. You know, you got mercenaries, bulk mercenaries that are coming in now, and the players they have brought in, not to say they have significantly underperformed to where a couple of them are not even seeing the field now. That's how bad they have been. We showed a little life last week, but still managed to decide our quarterback, who was supposed to be all-world, threw 4 interceptions. It's hard to win games when you do that.
Does the hurricane have anything to do with that?
No, they were playing like dog shit well before then.
Somebody's team is probably exceeding his expectations. That is my man, the Syracuse fan himself.
For real.
The Rooster.
Yeah. Here we go. So Syracuse knocking it out with portal transfer Heisman candidate Kyle McCord, slinging the ball, averaging 340 yards a game, 3 touchdowns per game.
And where did he play before?
There was a little school in Ohio that used to.
I think they're in the top 15 in total offense right now.
As far as I'm concerned, Ohio State and Syracuse have the same record.
And where did Joe Burrow once play back in the... Oh, that was Ohio State too.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, but he's no Joe Burrow, man, because he's not going to lead that team.
I'm just saying they can't figure out how to
We'll talk about maybe some Heisman things, but Syracuse showing up a couple weeks in a row here after a disastrous loss to Stanford of all teams. Beat UNLV at UNLV. Well, actually, in the
Allegiant.
The Roomba, the Black Roomba.
And UNLV is a pretty solid team, man.
UNLV is looking solid. However, they had a quarterback walk off the week that they were going to play
the running back did
Syracuse due to NIL issues. So thought he was worth more than what he was getting paid and walked off the job. However, UNLV backup quarterback is fifth-year senior, pretty darn good. And he did show up pretty well, but that was a dynamite game. That was 2 weeks ago, so I'm getting way behind on myself.
Yeah.
Bottom line is,
Our listeners are now sleeping.
Syracuse with a Heisman candidate, Kyle McCord. I got him rated third in the Heisman candidates.
Wow.
The quarterback that left, the trending hashtag on Twitter was douchebag. By the way,
That's
right.
awesome.
It's gonna be tough.
That's exactly what I called him on our Facebook group. So that's probably who started that shit.
That's right.
Trending.
Hashtag trending.
Yeah. Hey, I trend often on Facebook and
whoa,
Twitter
it's not that
nowadays,
kind of
you know.
party, buddy.
Tens of fans following.
Tens of tens. At least 2 or 3, we'll say. All right, so we do have another man here. His name is Chief. And do you prefer to talk about Clemson or North Carolina?
This year, definitely Clemson.
Yeah, they're looking.
Clemson undefeated since they got annihilated by Georgia. They
looking
swamped Wake Forest. They're looking good now.
Well, Wake Forest right next to a high school.
So my question is, again, I don't give two flying rips, but
Junior college.
they've played junior colleges ever since they played Georgia.
Yeah.
Some of them probably less than junior colleges.
They're gonna win out the rest of the season.
Klubnik had stats like Kyle McCord this past week.
Nico Alphabet did too, and now he's playing some talent. The man is struggling, so we'll see how it goes when the season shakes out.
All right, and then we have the only female on our show for years now,
Yeah.
and she's committed to hanging with us every single week.
I know, you guys are-
As terrible as we are, we got Cheeks here. How you doing, Cheeks? USC. It's turning out to be a season you did not expect.
If it was
to.
baseball, it would be good to be 500.
Yes.
Sometimes
you're not.
280.
That'll get you in the Hall of Fame.
Let's look back on last week, shall we?
We shall.
All right, so I neglected to put in Ohio State at Oregon, so we'll talk about that now because I know that you guys have lots to say about it. And for some reason, I did not put it on our list to talk about, and I don't know why. I was probably just brain dead on Sunday from winning the Stein holding contest for the 5th year in a row. By the way,
Congratulations.
So
That was amazing.
on my birthday at that. So hey,
I'm coming for you next year.
47 years old
what
and
she
still
said.
kicking ass. Let's just say all things considered
And
against a
That's true.
21-year-old.
Yeah.
I know.
At that, so
I told him he would win the next time if you die.
you see these big guns. Luckily, our listeners can't see it because they'd be scared so much they wouldn't even be able to listen to the show anymore.
Maybe it's because you have no neck. Is that what it is?
Ohio State, Oregon. So Oregon wins this game. Oregon wins this game. Enlighten me on what you think the highlights were, Rooster.
Highlights for me in this game was, the OSU defense was highly touted going into this game. Everybody's talking about OSU's going to make it this year. OSU's got the defense. OSU's got the defense. Oregon did pretty much whatever they wanted, except for 3 possessions of the game. Scored points. 32 points against a top-tier defense is a lot of points. And you're talking about an Oregon team that struggled in previous games. I believe they only scored 21 or 24 points against Boise State. So they came out of their shell a little bit, and we're going to talk about the coaching a little bit, but the Oregon coach put together a game plan to beat the OSU defense. They had enough weapons to do it and hold off OSU.
It's impressive for sure.
As it stands right now, he's coach of the year because he came out of the gate and they were highly touted, national champion contenders. They should have lost to Idaho first game of the year. Legitimately could have lost that game. Boise State, they lost 37-34, which by the way, Boise's a pretty damn good football
Yeah, we
team.
didn't know that Boise State was
Correct.
that
So
good after
to me,
game 2.
that's not a bad close game. But since then, they have just been crushing people. Oregon State 49-14. That's a rivalry game. That's usually close. UCLA 34-13. Michigan State 31-10. So now they roll into this game. I didn't have much faith in them because I saw those early games, and I think that's what everybody still remembers. You almost lost to the Vandals, which are ranked in the top lowest 25 teams in the country when they put those polls out there. And now that coach has figured it out. He has been able to make it, in my opinion, he's been able to make adjustments, find their strengths and capitalize on those, find good ways to hide their weaknesses. They're not a team you want to play right now. I mean, if they play Ohio State again, Ohio State may beat them. I mean, Ohio State's got more talent, and nobody's going to argue that. But Ryan Day's a whole other conversation. He's now 1-7 against top 5 or top 10 teams since he's become the head coach of Ohio State. I've said many times, y'all have heard me on this show say that his problem is, here's a nice guy. I don't have no problem. He can't coach in pressure situations. He loses his chops. And so now we're looking at this.
He has a whole team of people around him to reel that in if that's the case then.
It depends on how he allows them to, and it depends on the quality of the coaches he's hiring. I mean, it's that. I mean, if they take on the personality of the coach, now they're sitting there frantic as well.
Is he calling the offensive play?
That I don't know.
No, he did this.
I don't think he is.
But it's still, at the end of the day, though, you got to go say, hey, dude, I hired you to do this, and you're doing a piss poor job. I mean, how many times you heard a head coach taking over that responsibility when he's not happy with it?
I mean, they hired a whole new defensive coaching staff. I think over the offseason.
2 years ago, they put in the new defensive, and that was all the rating.
That was it. Yeah, that's right.
Up to this point, before the Oregon game, They allowed 7 points to Iowa, 7 points to Michigan State, 14 points to Marshall, 0 to Western Michigan, 6 to Akron. I will say, is this one of those examples of you played JV football games and then you had to go into a hostile environment against a top 5 team and you got whooped, and they had already dealt with
Well, they didn't get whooped.
Well, they got beat, which they should have. But
yeah.
and Oregon had already put a couple of toughies on the schedule, so they were up to speed. Ohio State was going at JV speed in the beginning of the game. If you recall, Oregon led for a long time in the game, and it was always Ohio State trying to come back.
I remember one Mountain Mama over here, the boat whore himself. He was saying that maybe Oregon was holding back some of those cards in the first couple of games of the season. The longer it goes on, the more I believe it now. I wasn't believing it, but now I am believing it.
I don't know if I believed it myself, but it's only good to say it. But to piggyback off, I mean, the defense thing, we're starting to see a trend in college football, kind of like the NFL as well. Defense doesn't exist anymore. How many points did Georgia give up to Mississippi State on Saturday?
31.
31.
And they're not good.
How many points did Alabama give up to Georgia? 35. Georgia gave up 38 to Alabama. We saw Ohio State give up 32 to Oregon. Oregon gave up 31. I feel like there's a lot of high-scoring games with some of these better defenses. USC, Penn State. Penn State just vaunted defense. Gave up 30 points on the road to USC. The only 2 defenses I've seen that's actually stayed true to themselves and kept scores down are Tennessee and Michigan. The rest of these big-time teams are giving up a lot of points. To piggyback on your point,
I think the offenses are just better?
No, I think it's the JV and football effect. I think that has a lot to do with not being prepared when they come into it.
I haven't looked at it close enough to really take these teams and break them down because I do have a day job. I blame transfer portal.
That means send more money on Venmo, guys. At Bar Talking Sports.
Defense is more continuity than anything. Defense, you can be a huge athlete, but the guy on the other side, your other linebacker, is not very good. They're just going to figure out and run at him. You've got to have the continuity on defense. Is way more important than the continuity on offense. Offense, you just got to be able to make a play. If your offensive line breaks down, make a play. I think the defensive struggles you've seen across the board this year is because there's no defensive continuity like you used to see anymore.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of screen option, read option. That's all these offenses are. But
they've been that way for a long time.
Right, right. I just don't think.
But you think about Big Ten football was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Pac-12, half the Pac-12 goes into the Big Ten. Few of them go into the SEC. What are they doing? Throwing the ball.
They're chucking it around.
And all they got to do is make 2 or 3 stick, and they move it, and first down.
But I don't know. If Oregon and Ohio State played that game 10 times, it'd probably be 5-5. I think they're really close in talent.
They were close.
That was a very good game.
But I do think if they played at a neutral site, maybe in the central time zone, that might have had.
Do you think time zone comes into play?
So there's a lot of NFL gambling stakes that prove many times.
What's the line on just going from the East Coast to the West Coast?
There was one particular year that I did a lot of NFL gambling, and I'm wanting to say whoever had to travel cross country. The winning percentage of the team, looking at money line, not spreads.
Okay.
Cross country, the winning percentage was like 31%. It was a huge disadvantage.
But I
think it mattered if you went from the West Coast to the East Coast.
West Coast to East has got to be way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyways,
East Coast to West.
If you're Syracuse, you're going to UNLV. It didn't matter. Let's move on.
For college students, East to West matters because they're playing a game at noon and it's 9 o'clock to them. And those boys, but
that doesn't happen out
What
west.
time was the
they
game?
play the night game.
It was a 12:30 local kickoff.
No, 3:30 local.
3:30. So
4:30 local.
They played. It was the 7:30 start.
Yeah, so it'd been 4:30 local kickoff.
So
it's already a late game. It's a 7:30 kick for Ohio State.
It's a 4th.
Yeah, 7:30. That should
But
be
it's
a normal.
well, your clock, your internal clock, it's a 4:30 game for you, right?
But
For the
Oregon,
Oregon,
you're right. Yeah.
I will say, I said on this show last week, Ohio State losing that game is the best thing that could have happened. I said if they lose this game, this is the best thing that could happen to them moving forward because their conference is weak outside of Penn State. They should destroy Michigan. Michigan's in a very down year this year. Outside of Penn State, unless they just go in and crap the bed, they should win out. And I mean,
they're going to kill Penn State.
We're gonna talk about this more, but Ohio State still has to play Penn State and Indiana, both of the undefeated teams that are in the Big Ten.
They kill
We'll
Indiana.
talk about that in a minute, though. Okay. Let's move on to. I don't want to beat up this game too much. Arizona State beating Utah. Cam Rising was back. He looked like shit.
He finds a way to lose a game every year.
He was 16 for 36, but he had an injured hand and he was running a glove.
And now he's thinking about redshirt and he's coming back for his 7th or 8th season.
Yeah, I don't know that that's true. But should he just hang up that glove that he wore on Saturday and just say, you know what, screw it, I'm done with college football. Maybe I'll coach somewhere.
I mean,
why would you? Why would you? I mean, if they're going to offer you an 8th
And
year,
he's making NIL money.
Yeah.
He's making more NIL than he would in the workforce.
So he had 3,200 yards in 2022 and like 2,900 yards in 2021. He was out 2023 season.
I don't know if you've ever been out there to Utah, but there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of Utah alum.
So he should stay.
Yes.
If I'm him,
Well,
26 years old, still in college.
he's not born in the NFL.
I keep
so
getting
make
older. The
money.
girls
Yeah.
are staying the same age.
There we go.
Oh.
Days confused.
He's going to be.
Van Wilder.
All right. No. That's Days confused. Little all right.
Yeah, but Van Wilder was also.
Point being is, as long as they're willing to
play.
pay him through NIL, I'd sit my butt out there and play 15 years. They let
Make a
me.
couple $100
Yeah.
a year. Have a good time. Get my master's.
Yeah.
Maybe
Full-time
over.
He might convert to Mormonism by the time he leaves, I'm sure.
But talk about Arizona's defense.
I don't know.
First
I mean,
of all,
Arizona
Arizona-
State. Go ahead.
They've been playing pretty good.
They have been playing.
That's-
Good.
I think they're just outside the 25.
I think they're in the top 25.
Arizona
They're
State.
not.
Arizona State.
Arizona State is not in the top
Yeah.
25 now.
They
I
should
think
be.
they have 2 losses, but if they keep on playing well, they're going to be fine. Of course. I didn't want to dwell too much on that game because neither of those two are in the top 25 anyway. Nobody on that listens to our show is watching that game and cares too much about it. I'm sure.
I know one guy, but that's okay. Move on. He's good with it.
All right. Alabama almost lost to the Gamecocks.
Arizona State's 5-1.
Yeah.
Oh, they're 5-1.
I thought they were in the top 25.
They're not in the top 25. They
Just
should be just
real quick,
outside.
when we
Couple
won,
votes.
their over under through Vegas for the wins was 4.5.
Yeah. Their coach
Arizona State?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So they're way over
Yeah.
expectations. Okay. That's great, man. That's good. That's a good story, then. If they keep on winning, that would be
How much
awesome.
did you make, Rooster?
On what? No.
Their head coach, I don't know if you saw it real
Didn't
quick.
have that
Did
one.
you see what their head coach said the other day?
Yeah.
He said, for those who've won money on that, put it back into the pot so we can pay these players to stay here.
All right, Alabama almost lost to the Gamecocks last week. Discipline issues, are they suspected in Tuscaloosa right now? Like, what's going on with that team having the challenge they've
No.
had the last 10 quarters? Didn't you say it? The last 10 quarters
Yeah.
have been really bad for them, right now, Mama?
If I'm an Alabama fan, the last 10 quarters have me a little concerned.
Why?
Well, you blew a 30-7 halftime lead to Georgia. Okay, it's Georgia, I get it. Then you go out and you lay an egg against Vanderbilt. You give up 40 more points against Vanderbilt. And we know Vanderbilt's pretty decent, but it's Alabama. And then this last 4 quarters against South Carolina, who come in off a butt kicking, and it was a home game, and it just, I don't know. I just feel like those last 10 quarters of
South
nothing.
Carolina would have won that game if they didn't screw themselves.
Yeah, Alabama tried to
They
get
got
that
those
game.
2 field goals. Yeah.
No, well, you can play. My thing is this: is South Carolina has a very capable quarterback that made some freshman mistakes.
He's
in
a freshman, yeah. He's young, man.
The 2-point conversion ball, he makes that throw 50 out of 55 times. He threw it to cheap seats. The kicker had longest field goal ever, was 42 yards.
Yeah.
They should have punted the ball and tried to pin them.
Yeah.
Don't try to kick that field goal. So you can do that all day long. In terms of Alabama, here's what I think with that. I think they are the antithesis of Oregon. Oregon figured it out, and now they're starting to win. Georgia, I feel like they're just resting on our laurels. We're Georgia. We've got more athletes than everybody. We just roll you out there, and we'll will our way to a win.
Alabama or Georgia?
Sorry, Alabama. We're Alabama. We would just will ourselves to a win. And they got exposed in the second half against Georgia. Vanderbilt did some of the very similar things. You go back and look at it, very similar things that Georgia did to them. South Carolina followed suit, and they haven't changed a lot. They're just like, we're Alabama. We're going to figure this out. And now they're getting in close games. So
Hold on. If they didn't figure it out over the course of 2 games or 6 quarters, then it's a coaching issue.
That's what I'm saying.
not-
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Oregon
yeah.
has figured it out. Georgia's like, Alabama, our base scheme is good. We don't need to change anything. Now you're 3 games in. You held on in one, you lost, and you held on and won another one. Somebody needs to go up in that locker room, and you got to keep in mind it's the defensive side of the ball is where they're really struggling. Their coach is an offensive guy.
Yeah.
So, Saban was defensive guy. You never saw their defense play completely and utterly trash like you've seen a few quarters this year. The coaches have got to sit down with these guys and go, what are our strengths, hide our weaknesses. Just what Oregon is doing, and they're going to be fine. I don't know if they'll do it or not.
You got a coach that comes from the West Coast,
Yeah.
and they're all about their offensive playing,
Yeah.
not that much about their defensive playing out there. Is he going to be able to survive in the SEC
Yes.
without focusing on that?
Yes. survive,
Yeah,
but-
he'll do. Saban did it. So Saban was the defensive guy. Who was his offensive coordinators? Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin, Jimbo Fisher. He had the best of the best running his offenses. DeBoer, he's got the money. They got the asset. They got the money there. They've got everything working for him. Go out and get some of your best defensive coaches out there. That's what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to hire the
The
best
only thing that
defensive
worries me is he doesn't have the pedigree to attract the level of coaches that Saban did. So now you're hanging on your hat of the reputation of Alabama, and that will take him 1-2 years. If he doesn't get that sorted out in 2 years, this gets interesting to say the least.
Dave
That's
Shula.
a
Dave
huge.
Shula all over it.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Is that
Or Mike Shula.
anybody was going to say, "Yeah, I'm going to go work for Nick Saban."
I do it for free.
They'll take those $30,000 a year salaries to go just be an analyst for Saban. just so they could have that experience and say, hey, I work for Saban. And the next thing you know, they move into a coaching role and then on
Look at all the people who've succeeded by working for Saban.
Exactly.
And I'll also comment here. Somebody made the comment, well, Nick Saban lost to ULM when he took over. He took over a trash team. Somebody talked about how Kirby Smart had some of the same struggles at Georgia his first year. He took over a subpar team. This guy took over somebody who played in the national championship, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. And
In the playoffs.
In the
last
playoffs.
year.
And they haven't missed the playoffs yet, I don't think. Or last year was the first year they missed the playoffs. Was Alabama's last year, first year they missed the playoffs.
Alabama made it. 'cause they beat
Georgia missed. So that they haven't never missed playoffs, I think, maybe 1 year. They've been handed.
previous year.
They've been handed a gold mine. So he better get it fixed because them folks down there ain't going to put up with it very long.
Yep. Okay.
Got spoiled.
Cheeks.
I
Okay, you got something else to say?
I do think going back to the coaching thing, they played an amazing. I mean, the first 2 quarters against Georgia were some of the best coaching I'd ever seen.
And put up 28 points against that team.
Just hyped up and just went out there and they beat the crap out of a very good Georgia team. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy knows how to coach. He gets him hyped up. On the flip side of that coin, he failed to do that against Vanderbilt, and he failed to do that against
You
South
make
Carolina.
adjustments.
No adjustments. Also, what is his locker room speech? What is what does that look like in the week previous leading up to it? Are you thinking you're Alabama and you're going to roll through those lesser teams and you got caught? Because I bet you he was on point every single practice, every single minute leading into Georgia. I bet you that's not what practices look like after that.
I don't know, man. I think there's some discipline issues in Tuscaloosa, dude.
I think
I really do.
After this weekend, I think we'll figure out if he's.
Well, they
over
do
his
have
head.
the Tennessee game. We're going to talk about
In
that
over his
later.
head, we'll find
If
out.
you
that
guys-
keeps the listeners around for a little while, we're going to talk about that.
But you
game.
guys are focusing on what's wrong with Alabama. I mean, we kind of killed ourselves. We shot ourselves in the foot.
No. Don't take me wrong.
Yeah.
South Carolina is your true Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Right now, they should be 5-1. They should have beaten LSU for a
Yes.
multitude of reasons. They didn't. I don't know what happened to Ole Miss. That's the worst Gamecock team I've seen roll out on the field.
I went to it.
Just a bad.
I was there too.
Just a bad start. It didn't-
But if that Gamecock team plays the way they did against Alabama this week and the rest of the year, his boys up in the upstate better look out.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be battle tested when they get there, unlike Clemson. South Carolina, if they play the way they did against Alabama, could win out. They legitimately could win out this season. I'm not saying they are because they're a very young team. But they are Jekyll and Hyde.
They're
They've got it.
scrappy. They are scrappy.
Yeah.
If they can keep those players around for a couple of years without entering the freaking portal,
Yes.
Yeah.
then they might
They
have a
a couple
team.
of areas that they need to improve
Well,
on.
and South Carolina they get another wounded dog this week.
I know. They get a wounded dog. We said every week they get the wounded dog.
Stay tuned because we'll be talking about that game as well. All right, Cheeks. I know you did not want to talk about this game. I know you did not want to talk about this game, but USC
The other
lost.
USC.
USC, that
Yes.
is University of Southern California,
So I-
lost by 3 points to Penn State.
I
What's going on over
believe
there?
that if we played the first half the same in the second half, I think that Lincoln Riley knew it. He needed to do a bunch of quick plays. And so the first half, that's what he was doing. Get the ball off, get the ball off, get the ball off. He knew what the competition was. Penn State is not good with the quick ball. So he was doing that in the first half, did great. Second half, and there was also a lot of penalties against Penn State in the first half. Second half, all the penalties seemed to be against USC.
Is
And
that an exhaustion issue? Is that just not a deep enough team where they're making those little mind mistakes halfway
Well-
through the game, or what?
Lincoln's not an offensive guy, so when it came to the second half, that's where he ran into the issues.
Wait a minute, you said Lincoln Riley's not an offensive guy?
Well, he's not.
He's totally an offensive
He's
guy.
completely an offensive
He's
coach.
supposed to be an
He's the
offensive
OC.
guy, but it depends against who he's playing.
quarterback guy.
Yes, exactly. He's a quarterback guy.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha, now I feel you.
so the second half was a difficult one for them
Yeah.
when they kept hitting all those penalties and trying to recoup, and that's where they went into overtime.
The second half was awful. Let's just put it this way.
It was.
I mean, it
pathetic.
was a going back and
pathetic.
forth game. It was actually a good
Yeah.
game to
No,
watch. It was fun.
Penn State was getting rolled in the first half.
I know. I needed two first halves.
It was 20-6, and it looked like Penn State was standing in mud the entire time. They looked terrible.
Yeah.
Second half come out, Penn State scores 14 in the third, 10 in the fourth to tie it up. I mean,
Shouldn't have happened.
shouldn't have happened.
Well, USC's they're not a second half team. Michigan was another game.
Penn State's not built for 24 points and a half.
I
Yeah.
feel like this podcast, we're going to look back and we're going to talk about the ability of coaches to do what they need to do at halftime.
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't give James Franklin credit.
It kills me. It kills me. No, I looked at my buddy watching this game, and I said, and all the time he has been at Penn State. I go, if you went, they changed what they were doing offensively in the second half, and they changed what they were doing defense. I said, this is the first time that cat's earned his money up there. That was the first game.
He
that I
never
went,
changed
if he'd
that.
been doing that for the last 4 years, Penn State and the conversations would be way different.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if that's him or a new coordinator. Look, I don't think he's.
I know.
He's another Lane Kiffin. To be honest with you.
Oh, I'm not-
but
yeah, I
for
am not
that.
saying him.
Don't stoop that low.
For that game, again, I don't know if it was him, his coordinators, they made adjustments. Lincoln Riley has been known not to. He rides his horse, live and die. He did it at Oklahoma. He's done it at USC. and he's got a very young team. And so, therefore, again, I think this podcast, a lot of what we saw was the coach's ability to be a coach.
Yep.
Let's just say this:
Yeah.
Penn State is now ranked number 3. So the people that are voting must have thought that was a good win for USC. Are they really the number 3 team?
Penn State.
We will soon
will.
I
find
We
out.
will
disagree.
know very
I don't
soon.
think they're number 3 at all.
They got the boys up in Columbus at some point.
They
We're
got
gonna find
some.
out.
soon.
They got some tough games ahead of them.
Yeah.
Texas versus Oklahoma. Why do we even need to talk about that game? That was just it just shows that Texas is exceptional on offense and sufficient on defense to put away teams. Oklahoma is not a good offense at all, right? So we know that for a fact.
Well, that's like
And
the
they
game coming
showed-
up this week against the Gamecocks. The over-under is 40.5, and I'm like about to go "Ugh," on the under.
Yeah. I don't know. Gamecocks might. So who's showing to win that game right now? Is that Oklahoma?
Oklahoma -3 because it's at
minus
Oklahoma.
3. Okay.
I'll just say this: first quarter, Oklahoma looked like they were going to go toe to toe, and then Texas. I mean, I
When they
even,
were up
I
3-0?
even posted on the Facebook page there. I said, Ewers, he looked terrible his first 2 possessions.
Well, first came back.
Sure, first game back, all that kind
After
of good
missing
stuff.
one, or was it 2
Two
games?
2 games.
But
Okay.
just saying, first quarter, you're watching the game and you're like, this is going to be a good one. And then all of a sudden, it was like dynamite. And Texas had it, and they were throwing it at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma didn't know what to do.
They had no.
Somebody said the joke that after the end of the first quarter that the coach, he heard Sarkisian yell, "Hey, Manning, warm up," and that's all it took. Now, I don't know if that's true or not.
That would be funny.
I think we're looking at a Texas team that is as solid defensively and offensively as solid defensively as a Georgia 2020, 2021, 2022-ish in that era, and offensively head and shoulders above them.
They are as efficient and steady. And what I mean steady is when there's
Yeah.
adversity, they don't lose their cool. They just keep churning along. They are as efficient and steady as the team that won the national championship with
Yeah.
Young at quarterback.
I can back that up. So
Who'd they play
32
The
32
defending national champions.
over 32 minutes on the clock for Oklahoma and under 28 for Texas.
Well, I was just going to say this. Texas really has not played any offensive powerhouses yet. They played Michigan. They beat up Michigan.
Michigan's terrible.
They played Oklahoma. We know Oklahoma has their struggles on offense. I think there's still a little road to go. I agree with you. Bold prediction says that Texas plays against Ohio State in the national championship. You heard it here. You heard it here first from me.
I mean,
that's my bold
to
prediction.
Rooster's point.
I don't know that that's that bold of a prediction.
No, to Rooster's point.
After
Their
Ohio State
schedule.
lost?
No.
Oh, Ohio State.
2
being
weeks
in there,
from
yeah.
Saturday.
No, hold on. To Rooster's point, their schedule thus far this year is Colorado State, a down Michigan, UTSA, San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe, and Mississippi State and Oklahoma. That's their schedule thus far.
Oh, wow,
They
okay.
have not played anybody.
Two good defenses on there.
Right, sure.
And Michigan. So that just shows you how good they are. Michigan at home, they beat them. Handily. Oklahoma's defense is extremely good, but they're just so much offensive power, they overpower those defenses.
Michigan ain't that good this year.
Their defense is pretty
Their
decent.
defense is solid.
Their defense is solid, so they have to stay on the field for
top
72,
Well, exactly.
72 plays, and it don't matter no
Right,
more.
yeah. And they got Georgia this weekend, so again, we'll
find out.
We'll find out some
Hey,
more,
stay tuned because we'll be talking about that one as well. So, all right. Moving on to the Kansas State beats Colorado. The only thing I'm going to say about this game
Because I was happy.
is
Yeah, I know. The conclusion
Colorado
was awesome.
going into that game 4-1, and so was Kansas State. The hype train was about to we did not have the hype train of last year, 2023 season around
God.
Dion and that team. Thank God.
No,
Because they lost the first
face
game.
planted.
But this team had some hype. They were talking about them big time on the college sports.
I don't want to bust y'all's bubble.
Yeah.
But they should have won that game.
They should. I mean, for
And
sure.
the Big 12 is so freaking upside down. That might be a rematch in the Big 12 championship. Because Colorado is not going anywhere, guys. I hate to say it. They're probably going to win 9 games. It makes me want to puke.
No, I don't
They are
disagree with
way
you.
better than they were last year.
I don't.
Absolutely.
It
They
doesn't
had
make
that
me
game.
want to puke. I could care
Well,
less.
I don't want them to
but-
win a single game. I was hoping they win
Yeah.
every damn game.
Did you see where
Agreed.
Did you see where Mr. Notos went and just went daddy on his DB son and told him he played like trash and should have been on the
Did you see the juke?
No.
Oh, the juke was bad. I mean, that's a highlight reel.
You're me, Mr. Noto.
So he rolled up.
That's terrible, man.
So the running back ran up into the hole and just planted and cut, and his son just goes, "It's not Shiloh. What's the other one's name?"
Shador?
Shador.
No, it's Shiloh. Shiloh.
It's
Shiloh.
Shiloh.
Shiloh
Yeah,
just goes-
Shador's the quarterback.
Shiloh just goes, ugh, and just falls over. I mean, it was
his legs bubbled.
And then earlier in the game, that same running back just plowed right over him like he wasn't there. And yeah, Dion just didn't pull no punches with his boy, which he shouldn't. He
Right,
shouldn't.
right.
But I did find that comical. I'm like, yeah, he didn't like that at all.
He is coaching somebody that we all think is going to be a Heisman champion, possibly.
Now he's gonna be a champion.
Right.
He might get. He
Right.
may get on the stage.
He got hurt, right? Travis got hurt. That's what we're talking about. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Travis. He got hurt. He didn't finish that game.
He did not.
Yeah, he's
He
out.
did
The,
not
the
finish that
unfortunate thing to me is Travis Hunter can play anywhere in the country. He might be, hands down, I think he's the best athlete in college football right now. Ain't even close. If he played for another team, that dude wins the Heisman.
He wouldn't be playing on both sides of the ball on another team.
But
And the reason why I said it is no coach. And I don't know what Deion's doing with him, but
Dion has free reign at that.
the very fact is the reason why he's injured is he's playing two sides of the ball. If you're playing two sides of the ball, I mean, I go for a jog for too far and I'm freaking hurting. And this guy, obviously, he's way better of an athlete than. Obviously, he's a million times more of an athlete than me. But still, you have more chances of getting hurt during a game when you're playing that many snaps.
And you're going to get tired, and then you get hurt.
Yeah, but we talked about this.
Exhaustion
last
gets you hurt.
If you're going to play at a super high level, playing both sides is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And this was a hot topic last year that we talked about.
That might work at Jackson State or whatever.
How long is his body going to hold?
I think this is deliberate. I think this is deliberate from a selfish perspective. Deion knows that if he plays him only at wide receiver, he doesn't have enough horses to showcase him because they're just going to double team him every play, every game, and Shedeur can't make him look good. So how do you offset when they start double teaming him on offense? You put him over there, you let him grab some interceptions, you let him get 10 tackles a game. I think this is a selfish move by the coach to basically say, I got a Heisman Trophy candidate over here.
So why not just keep him as a corner? I don't know. I mean,
And I think if he goes to one side of the ball, Colorado don't have enough around him to showcase him to where he's going to do what he's doing.
Defensive players don't win Heisman trophies.
yeah, that's true. Good point.
Woodson was the last one.
But it gets
Doesn't
you. But
And Woodson played wide receiver too, by the way.
Oh no,
No, Woodson.
Woodson
But-
played wide receiver.
Yeah,
too.
defensive players go to the NFL, and that's what your ultimate goal is to make
not his goal.
$11 million your first year in the NFL.
That's not
right?
Deion's
first
goal.
round. Oh, go ahead.
There's one other upset that we haven't talked about.
All right, I'll let you have free reign on this.
Ole
man.
Miss and LSU.
Oh yeah.
What did we say?
I didn't consider
we
that
said
upset.
night game at LSU.
I thought it was a great game.
somebody
Great
had
game.
that one on the list.
I had that one. I think we about all picked out. I didn't win upset at all. At all, that was upset.
That was an evenly matched
Upset
game.
by
LSU
ranking.
and Ole Miss. Are
I'm just saying.
It was a fun game to watch.
Oh, it was. I loved it. But I'm saying when you shake it out and you want to put your nuts on tape, that was not an
Your
upset.
nuts on
Everybody
the
knew.
tape.
Everybody knew. Sorry, Chiefs.
I don't know what kind
The
of.
only reason it was an upset is
Cheeks
because
is not gonna
number
watch you
9
put your
and
nuts on
number
the tape.
13. That's it.
I agree. The rankings is
What kind of other podcasts are you on?
No, just another example of Ole Miss being we are. who
He
they are.
loves Lane Kiffin.
It's not Lane Kiffin. It's the fact that Ole Miss gets a lot of love only because they're in the SEC. If you put Ole Miss in the Big 12, they wouldn't
you
get
ever
two
been to
shits.
the Grove?
I don't. They rank you on tailgating.
Hey, they rank you on tailgating, money, exposure, and who's going to watch what.
AKA
Notre Dame. AKA Notre Dame.
I would say this about the game, and that is the LSU quarterback that looked like a scared kid in the first game. I think he found himself and led his team to victory
Yeah,
in an overtime game with a tough pass to win that game in a tough position in a game that they were supposed to lose, by the way.
And to his credit, he'll take a shot.
Oh yeah, he will.
All right, one more game real quick. SEC game. Vandy coming off the win at Alabama rolls in to Kentucky.
It ain't an upset.
They
Them cats are
lost.
good.
Those are two evenly matched teams.
No, I think there's nobody in SEC that wants to play Vanderbilt right now. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Nope.
They are a few
Well, of
players.
course, they beat Alabama.
They are a
Kentucky.
few
And
players
Kentucky.
away from being legit, at least for a year or two. I mean, they found some diamonds in the rough, and they're making the most out of them.
And every one of those kids is going to get a lot of money next season to go play somewhere else.
So the coach, I heard coach
I
off
don't
the
know,
records
they're all
already went to the
PhD
AD.
programs.
Went to the AD and was like, "There's money in this school. We're bringing in a lot of money now. You need to figure this out. If you want to keep me here, we got to drop some coins."
They do have a good coach. They do have a really good coach.
They do. Okay.
All right, I'm not interrupting anymore.
And there needs to be more Vanderbilt fans in the stands.
I'm
than
buying
the other
myself a
team.
Vanderbilt hat.
That school has like
Yeah.
2,500 students.
It's not very,
I don't know. I
yeah.
just feel
But
so
I think
bad.
Duke pulls a lot. So
All 2,500 of those students walked down the street with
Yeah.
a
goalpost.
Yep,
for sure.
yep.
All right, so we talked about two teams that have Heisman candidates. We have Ole Miss. We also talked about Colorado. But there's one team that has a guy that is on track to beat Barry Sanders' record, 1,380 yards away or 20 touchdowns away from beating Barry Sanders' single-season record with 6 games remaining, and that is Ashton Genty. Okay? This guy is insane. Is he going to do it?
If he
And
stays
does
healthy,
do
yes.
it, if he does do it, being at Boise State, will he still win the Heisman?
No, I'm
Yes.
afraid he won't.
what? He will keep
To
doing
beat
it.
Barry Sanders' record is held for how long is that?
If
Almost
he- if
40
he-
years?
Oh,
Yeah,
And the thing,
almost 40 years.
so here's the thing: is this? I went back and looked at it. Oh, you're playing garbage competition. I think he rushed for something like 185 and 3 touchdowns against Oregon, and when they barely lost.
I cannot stand when I hear people say, well, they play garbage competition. By the way, the same caliber players that they play against, Boise State has.
Yeah.
So
1,000%.
It's the same thing. I just get sick and tired of hearing that when they talk about competition comparison. This kid should win the Heisman, but he won't, because we all know the Heisman Trophy is a bunch of bullshit popularity contest. It's going to go to a big school,
But-
it's not going to go to him, and he should win it. We've had a lot of these cats from the Mountain West, San Diego State, TCU back in the day. They did not win the Heisman Trophy because they just weren't the name that brings whatever the Heisman Trophy brings.
Somebody's super bitter.
I just think it's bullshit.
He is
I hate the Heisman Trophy.
He's 100% correct, but this year thus far is unique in that there is not another Power 4 player that is just leaps and bounds above, standing out above everybody else. If this is the year it's going to happen, if it's going to happen, it's this year. If he stays healthy, he's staying healthy.
Not only that, but he hasn't played the fourth quarter of any game but one.
Well, you guys are preaching to the choir.
No. He's saying
I love the guy.
We're defending it.
I'm just saying that these voters are not going to vote for him.
I think he's starting to get legs, starting to see some reels on him. Starting to
You know what they're going to do? They're going to give him
him
the dope walker, and they're going to give him this, and they're going to give him that. They're not going to give him the Heisman Trophy.
Here's my thing. I don't know.
It'll be a shame.
I don't think
it'll be
it-
proud. Then they should give it to McCord.
you guys are preaching to the choir.
ACC, Mountain West.
No, I mean I get it. If Alabama goes through and they end up winning the
Then we'll give it to
SEC
Milroe.
championship, then Milroe's probably going to
Or Beck. Or
Beck's
Travis.
not going to get
Yeah,
it.
Beck.
Well, I'm just saying, that's the caliber
But
player they're going to
Milroe.
give it to.
But only if his next 6 games are amazing.
Jalen Milroe is not getting the Heisman Trophy unless there's something ecstatic that happens with this guy.
In my opinion, it's Ewers and Genty.
That's-
Those are the two.
yeah, Ewers and-
And right now, Ewers has set out 2 games. If Genty keeps doing what he's doing and breaks what's considered an unbreakable record back in the day,
Even if he comes close.
so the counterpoint to you is if he puts up those kind of stats and breaks Barry Sanders' record and you don't give it to him, to me it diminishes the award across the board.
No, that's already.
Where did Barry Sanders play ball? At?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just.
That's the other part. He did it at a big school.
Yeah.
He's doing it against a
And
small
by the way,
school.
the year that he won that Heisman, he beat Rodney Peete, Troy Aikman, Major Harris,
And I think they only played
Tony Rice.
9 games. That's the other 10
They played
games.
10, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, that was a heavyweight Heisman class.
10 games, okay, and he's got 12 games.
Do you think Rodney
So we
Peete was
can't
in every
come.
class?
In college.
In college football, yes.
Yeah.
Houston, he put a stupid
Flamed
number.
out after that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big class.
So I alluded to this conversation earlier. Undefeated teams in the Big Ten. We have Indiana, Penn State, and Oregon. None of those teams play each other, and all of them are undefeated right now. But then all of them have a semi-easy road to undefeated, except for they each play Ohio State. All of them play Ohio State. Oregon already played Ohio State, beat them. Penn State plays Ohio State, and so does Indiana. So of those 3 teams that are undefeated, if they all have if all of them have beat Ohio State as well, let's assume that that's the case, and it's the end of the season, all 3 of them are undefeated. How do they make the decision? Is that who beat Ohio State by the most
I
points?
think it's the ranking, right? Is it the ranking where they rank out?
Well,
No, for the
listed.
conference championship, they'd have to figure out some way to determine which team was the
I
best.
asked this question way back when. There are tiebreakers in place because this is a very real possibility since you don't play everybody.
Yeah.
They have them in place. But it's like the man behind the curtain. They've not really disclosed
It won't be
what these
Indiana.
are until they get there and they have to do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Indiana. Let's just be honest here. Indiana would be the one.
Well, Indiana's gonna. We'll talk about it later. Indiana
Yeah.
is gonna lose to Nebraska this week.
Oh, here we
Yeah.
go.
So, but assuming that Indiana beats Nebraska and beats Ohio State, and then Penn State beats Ohio State. I mean, I think that they'll have to figure out, okay, of all of those teams, who beat the hardest team to play, and that would be Ohio State. And then at that point, they'd say, well, who beat them by the most?
Yeah, I mean, again, they've got their tiebreakers in place.
It's hard to tell.
I'm sure it's a comparison of how who they played. But I thought there was a ranking thing involved in there.
No, it may play into it.
It won't come into the AP poll ranking. If
That's
what you're
so
saying.
subjective. It's
That-
so
they won't
subjective.
do that. No, that's not for
I
conference.
think it's like head to head, and then how you fared against other opponents based on their
Like
records
opponents, yeah.
and all. I mean, it becomes a calculus equation. To be honest with you, because I mean, and then I think what's crazy about it, if you get down 4 or 5 deep in the tiebreakers, it starts coming into stupid. It starts turning into soccer. Who scored the most points?
Right.
Goal differential or spread differential.
I'm sure
start to come
the
in.
equation has Indiana looking from the outside.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope that it's not a calculus equation because most sports guys are not fucking good at math.
No, they're
Let's
just going to
say
tell me
that.
how it shook out.
Okay.
They put it into
Sounds like we need
computer
to
now.
do another shot. That bomb just came out.
I'm down, dude. You want that shot? Fireball all around,
Shot,
baby.
shot.
All right, let me get the next point of conversation going, and then I'll get the shots of Fireball. Ready? All right, so I'm going to leave you all this conversation here. We got Liberty. We got Army.
Oh,
we got
God.
Navy. All of them are grouped of 5 teams, right?
Yeah.
All of them are grouped of 5 teams. They're undefeated. Army and Navy play on December 14th. AAC championship is on December 6th. What the fuck's up with that, first of all?
Yeah, that's
Second of
fun.
all,
Well-
does this schedule conflict hurt their chance of being in the playoffs? And does that put Liberty in the playoffs because of that?
What hurts them is that we could see
They're dog shit. Their conference is dog shit.
We could see Army-Navy play back-to-back weekends.
Yep.
For the AAC
Yeah.
championship.
So I got-
and then the Army-Navy game.
So let me put it this.
Yeah.
Take all my disdain for Liberty out of this equation for about a second and a half. Believe it or not, them not playing at hurts their chances. Their conference is terrible. They almost lost to a terrible New Mexico State. Their body of work is trash. So here's what it comes into: is this group of 5? It's the highest ranked. It's the highest ranked conference champion. Okay, unless they stump their toe, that's going to be Boise State even with a loss. This is a moot point. Now, where this gets fun, this gets real fun. Boise State wins through, ends up being ranked 10, 11.
Or better.
Or better based on some losses. Navy, Army, one of them happens to run the table and be undefeated. Do they let Boise State in as an at-large and give the undefeated Army or Navy the group of 5 spot? I mean, that's going to be a conversation if Boise State wins that. They're good enough. They don't need the group of 5 spot.
Can I just call one thing out?
Go ahead.
That is that no matter how many playoff teams you have in it, doesn't solve all the problems. Whether it's 4, you're going to have pissed off people. Now you got 12. No, we've already got at least 3 teams that might be deserved to be in the playoffs that aren't going to make
Remember
it
the
in.
conversation they were having when they said, why move it from 4 to 12? Because no one cares who the 12th and 13th team is. Well, yeah, we do.
No, here's the thing, though.
Now we
to
can.
your point, but,
Yeah.
not your
Bowl
point.
games
Not your
matter.
point. It's easier and less threatening to the system to figure out 11, 12, 13, 14 than it is 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Because number 5 could still win it. The likelihood of 10, 11, 12, 13 winning the whole smash, if that happens, then all this conversation becomes in light.
Is Liberty ranked?
No.
They're
They're terrible.
They're not. I don't think they're going to.
They're terrible. I mean, they should have lost 2 really bad losses, and they pulled it out late because of stupidity by the other team.
That gets to my point number 4.
I've never heard somebody hate their favorite team as much as this guy right here.
That gets to my point number 4. I called Liberty winning or being in the playoffs at the beginning of the season. I'm reconsidering my statement on that because
They're terrible.
They don't look that good, and they might be 5-0 now. They might even be 11-0 at the end of the season with that missing game from.
If they played in the Sun Belt, they would lose 4 games.
They're just never going to get ranked into the top 12, and they have to be ranked in the top. They're never going to get ranked above Boise State.
Nope.
Because
Or
Boise State's
Army
one
or-
loss is
or-
a close
yeah, or
Oregon
Army or
game.
Navy.
Right, because they both play Notre Dame, so that's a big one. That's a big
Exactly. So that being said,
Piss on them. That's being said.
sometimes
Liberty, not the service schools. Liberty.
No,
He's
Liberty.
referring to Liberty.
Army and Navy are both.
I
gonna win this
want
weekend.
Army and Navy both to beat Notre Dame to where they play undefeated and then play again the very next week.
Wow.
Army and
It ain't
Navy.
crazy.
It's not far-fetched.
all right. Sometimes I got to move on from conversations, and this
Can
is the
I
time
get one
we
more
do.
quick piece? Army, Navy, Notre Dame. Who do they play first?
They play Navy first.
Navy has a greater shot because once they get to Army, they will already see the triple option. So Navy has a greater shot of doing what we're talking about.
That's a good point. So moving on to other points, though, because we got one person who we're never going to move on from, and that is Landon the fucking Legend, baby.
Dude, he's killing it.
Killing it.
If he'd have gotten that, he was the only one that even gave them a shot. South Carolina. If he hits that, I think he lost 1 game last week.
He lost West Virginia game.
I hope his mom didn't hear me say Landon the fucking Legend, but
She
if
did.
she did, here's the legendary picks for this week.
Georgia, Indiana, Tennessee, Illinois, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Oklahoma.
All right, there goes your legendary picks, and now we get our picks for the week. All right, so
Wait, let's start with who's number 1 right now.
who is number 1 right
Out of
now?
all of our people, who do you think is number 1?
Okay, I think Landon the Legend
Rooster.
might be number 1.
Or Landon's number 1. Who's
He
Rooster?
is not.
All right.
Rooster is not.
Who's number 1? Oh, the Chief went 7 for 7 last week, right?
He did.
Oh man, it
He
is
did.
tight. All right, who's number 2?
Number 2 is a tie between. Oh God.
A lot of people.
I don't even want to say
You need-
between you two,
you-
Rebel and Rooster.
You need to hit this thing that when you change it, it reorganizes it for you.
Yeah,
Excel will do this.
Excel will organize it
about
for
it.
you.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's you guys.
Ascending.
It's Rooster and Rebel.
How many behind?
We're only one behind Chief.
You're 2 behind Chief.
Oh, we got you.
And I'm probably last place because I am.
You are. Thank God I pulled up.
Yeah, that's good.
We
That's
got you
good.
because you're following that Clemson sword all year long.
I'm not. Let's just say I'm not choosing any more games by my feelings anymore. I'm going against the Gators if I have to. But let's talk about some of these games for next week. All right, let's go with South Carolina at Oklahoma first. I think the Gamecocks are looking for some sort of big win this week. I can tell you that because they need it.
Dogs, baby.
Challenge going to be going into Oklahoma against a wounded dog. So, what are y'all's thoughts on this one? I'm going to start with the Chief. Who you got winning this game, Chief?
Well, my gut feeling is it's going to be Oklahoma because it's at Oklahoma. It's going to be a really close game. I think South Carolina's going to play pretty well, but they're going to have a handful of screw-ups. Freshman quarterback mistakes. Oklahoma's a wounded dog. and it's at home. So I got Oklahoma.
Who you got there, Rooster?
Brett Venables knows Gamecock football. He'll bring the defense. I hate to say it, and I hate to say it.
You hate to say it.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. All right. And so, are you? I see the Rebel.
Shane
over
Beamer
there.
knows Oklahoma football.
He does know Oklahoma football.
South Carolina, 17-13.
Ooh, low scoring game. All right. And Chicks, who you got there, girl?
Oklahoma, because USC keeps burning me.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Very sophisticated way of going about it.
She has a very scientific way of choosing who she's going to be going for.
South Carolina's offense is better, and I think they're going to figure it out.
All right, and then we
I
got.
hope I'm wrong.
We got my man, the boat whore. Who you got?
So I'm not picking anymore because I suck at it. So I have two good buddies that are coming in for the golf tournament this weekend for the Midland Children's.
You're letting
tournament.
them choose.
I am. So I'm gonna give them call signs as well. First, I'm gonna go with Son of Sam. That's what we'll call him. He picked.
Damn.
He picked.
Sounds like a friendly guy.
He picked Oklahoma. So
Okay.
we're gonna go Oklahoma. With this.
All right,
I'll
Son of
explain later.
Sam, man. I don't even want to know
He
the story.
scares me already.
Exactly.
You got Jack the Ripper coming?
That will be next week. Tune in next week.
I don't know, man. I don't think Oklahoma's all that they're cracked up to be. I think that Carolina has a offense that can actually score against them. That even though it's a tough defense, I think that Rebel is probably right on track with that 17-13 score. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Carolina as well, man.
Wow.
We're gonna
Okay.
go on a road trip and beat the crap out of those boys,
I hope so.
or at least beat them. So okay, LSU number 8 at Arkansas. This is a upset chance of the week. I tell you what, Arkansas definitely has the ability to beat LSU. They're a good team despite their record, man. They're also at home, and I think that not going to Death Valley is going to play into a little bit of a factor there when they get to play LSU at home. LSU is a good road team. They're also a good home team, but I am going to say Arkansas upsets LSU number 8. What do you got on that, Cheeks? What do you think?
I totally agree with you. I think if I were an odds maker, I'd go for Arkansas.
An odds maker. If you were an odds maker, huh?
If I were.
But you're not number 1 on this chart, so they'll never hire you as an
I'm
odds
second
maker.
to last.
They
so
might hire the
never
chief.
follow me.
They might hire the chief as an odds maker. What do you got, Chief?
I got Arkansas. It's going to be close.
Oh, see, I stand a good chance.
Three out of 3 so
Yeah.
far. Does
Not
anyone-
so fast.
Oh, we got not so fast coming out. Good
I
God.
just got done saying the young LSU quarterback just found his way. They got ultimate confidence going into Arkansas. Arkansas is no slouch, and I think LSU knows that. I think Chip Kelly's going to put a little something together in the little brewery factory. Brian Kelly, excuse me. He's going to put something in the old brewing factory.
I think that shot got him going
maybe it
pretty
did.
strong.
I think LSU actually blows the doors off of LSU. 31-17 final.
Wow.
LSU blows the doors off LSU.
LSU, I was thinking the same thing.
LSU blows the doors off of the Razorbacks.
All
Yeah, there
right.
you go.
They're going to
Good
eat
job.
themselves some pig
You got
soup.
the name of the other team right. That's good.
I got one of them. Either way, I can't lose.
Okay.
Mount Man. Who you got?
Okay, so I'm going to alternate this pick with the other person. We'll call her Miss Hurd for Thundering Herd. She graduated from Marshall.
Is she a female?
Is she
a female?
her, Miss.
Weird.
Okay.
In my world, that
They-
still counts for a female. My
they-
friend.
Not a mass murderer, so that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, at least not a
Yeah,
mess.
so she said LSU, and I agree with her on that one.
All right, LSU, huh? Why would you think LSU though?
I think my man over here just laid it all out there. I
So
think they've hit their. You know what? There's a couple things. One, they're hitting their stride, kind of like my buddy Rebel over here said. They're hit just like Oregon. They've hit their stride. I cannot stand Ryan Kelly, but this team seems to be moving now. I do like Arkansas. I love their coach, but this might be a little too big for them. I feel like they're like a West Virginia in this moment. The moment's just too big for them.
Yeah, and I feel like Arkansas's found ways to lose this year.
Exactly. And I hope the Arkansas fans, the
Didn't
weather's
they-
nice, and they enjoy their tailgate.
Didn't they rehire the man on the motorcycle?
Yep.
And so
He's a better coach than Brian Kelly.
Well-
Fayetteville is where many great seasons have come to die. Arkansas wins the game.
Rebel makes it 4-2.
Looks like this is the week I go
wins.
past Rebel. Here we go.
I know.
Oh,
All right.
Because here's the reason I say this. They lost a tight game. They lost 31-17 to Texas A&M. I think at Texas A&M. If they win this game, you look at the rest of their schedule. Their schedule's a tough schedule. If they can somehow pull it out, they get in the SEC championship conversation if they get by this game.
They beat Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, in Fayetteville. So
Okay. Notre Dame, number 12. Notre Dame.
Why are we talking about this game?
The only reason why Notre Dame's number
they
12
suck.
is because they need to make sure they're in the playoff conversation, right? Notre
Money,
Dame.
money.
now, in their
Nailed
defense, they have been kicking ass. They have been blowing teams out of the water. I mean, I don't like them. I'm just saying.
And Georgia Tech's played like dog shit ever since they upset.
Georgia Tech's been
They
generally
beat Georgia. Who they beat?
They beat North Carolina.
They beat Florida State.
Florida State. Well, that's that ain't an upset.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
not
I'm
upset.
talking
Yeah, Notre Dame blows them out of the water. I don't give a damn if it is in Atlanta. Move on.
Okay.
Georgia Tech.
Wait, I need everybody's picks. Let's just
Notre Dame. It's Notre Dame. Anybody just take
I got
Georgia
you.
Tech, they've had too many fireball shots,
Right.
and they deserve never to pick again.
Georgia Tech.
We don't do shots on here.
you
What are
really
talking
pick
about?
No, I'm not picking Georgia Tech. I'm just saying they were. We thought they were a better team because they beat Florida State. We didn't know how bad Florida State was. Notre Dame by 35.
Yeah.
Okay.
Notre Dame.
They did play Syracuse close.
You really think about picking Georgia Tech?
Of course, I'm not thinking about Georgia Tech.
Oh.
I'm not thinking about.
We can
Georgia
move
Tech in
along
the middle.
faster. Is there anybody picking Georgia Tech?
No.
I'm not picking
game.
Georgia
Let's get to
Tech.
the real game of the week.
I'm not picking Georgia Tech, but y'all underestimate Georgia Tech, man.
No, I don't think so.
This is a team that's on the rise.
Yo.
Really?
I think they're on the other end of the rise.
They won that national championship in 1981.
91.
91.
91.
I think it was a split.
Yeah.
There was a split with Colorado, and you know why it was a split? The game before they played Georgia, they played the 2-8 North Carolina Tar Heels in Atlanta and tied them 14-14.
I predict 2031 Colorado versus Georgia Tech in the
Colorado.
national championship, baby, to determine who won that national championship.
They did beat
would
number
be
one
awesome.
Virginia that year.
They did.
That would be
They lost
awesome.
to a garbage North Carolina team.
All
and
right.
that
4
cost
more
them.
games.
All right, Michigan. Number 24, Michigan at number 22, Illinois. Michigan is just trying to hold on to relevancy while Illinois is trying to be relevant by beating Michigan. Is that good, right? You like that?
Yeah, I did
That
well
was
for you
good.
there.
Yeah.
So who do y'all think wins that game then? Michigan. What do you got?
Where do seasons go to die in the Big Ten? Illinois.
So you think Illinois is going to beat Michigan?
I do.
Chiefs got it down, man. You said it. All right, who do you got, Rooster?
I mean, you could flip a coin up in the air, and that's who I go with, to be honest with you. This is going to be a battle. I'm not a big fan of the Michigan team this year. I think they're decimated. However, they have come to play a couple times this year.
They have.
I think they're going to collect themselves after a big loss, an unexpected loss to Washington. I got Michigan.
You think
I got
Alex? You think Alex Orgy is going to be able to put some points against them?
I think Michigan is going to win this game by 3.
I don't think Orgy's playing quarterback now, is he? It's Tuttle, right?
Oh, is he? Okay, I don't know. But okay, so who you got? So now you want to speak on this? Who do you got there on Mountain Miama?
Well, seeing as how
There you go, fireball
seeing as
shot.
how Miss Hurd took Notre Dame, I'll go with Son of Sam on this one, and we'll say Illinois is going. Illinois is going to pull off the.
You guys in that games over there. You got the Illinois.
Illinois.
If it had me on the end, it would be Illinois.
Cheeks, hit me up, girl. What do you got, man?
Johns later.
I agree with Rooster. I thought it was a coin toss, and I went with Michigan.
So you flipped a coin and you
I
decided,
did, and
all
I
right.
picked Michigan.
That's the most scientific way to choose a win.
And
Put
you
her
know
nuts on
what?
the table and went with Michigan.
Yeah, I don't have any nuts, so I couldn't put them on the table.
all right.
If I did, I would
I
have.
love what I bring to the program here.
Rebel, you want to throw your nuts on the table and tell me what game you're going to
Actually, I am going to do it because Illinois has shot their wad. Michigan wins the game.
Yeah, I think Michigan's got this one too. Just throw me down for Michigan.
Even though I don't think Michigan's
Okay.
a very good football team, Illinois is young and up and coming. They've not been able to do. They've never been in a situation to have to do this week in, week out. As bad as Michigan is, they still have some athletes. They are the seasoned team. Michigan wins the game.
Shall we do one more shot before we move on to Alabama,
We'll
Tennessee?
never make it through it.
All right. Number 7 Alabama versus number 11 Tennessee. I will get the fireball shots while we talk about this one. Ready? Huge potential for both of these teams to
This is
establish
a playoff game.
themselves.
This is a
Both
playoff
of them
game.
have one loss. This is actually determining who's going to be in the. I think this one right here can determine who's going to be in the SEC championship game.
Very possible.
So
Agree.
I think Alabama's playing better football, man. No. That's hard.
Last 10 quarters
we talked
You know what?
agree
Let
with
me flip this coin, heads or tails. We're going with Tennessee. Put me down for
Oh.
Tennessee.
You knew Landon the Legend was going to go
Rocky
to Tennessee.
He did pick against them last year one game.
He
did.
picked against them
He
against
did.
Florida.
Yeah.
And Florida won that game. The kid is a
Genius.
genius, okay?
legend.
Legendary genius, yes.
My take on this game is a little more analytical than a coin flip. I don't know what has happened to Tennessee's offense.
Thank you.
Maybe it's because they played great teams and now they're playing some tougher teams. But you want to go back and really look at the tape. The offensive calling is they have reined it back in. Like they were letting Nico do what Nico does, and now it's almost like they're scared to do so. I don't know why, but if they play offense and they do the conservative offensive play calling the way they have the last couple games, it does not look good. Here's the determining factor, though, it's not offense. Their starting middle linebacker tore his ACL last week against Arkansas. He is out for the rest of the season. He is definitely an NFL prospect. If this guy coming behind him is not as good, and well, if that guy was as good, he'd probably be a starter. I just don't. Tennessee is discombobulated right now for some reason, and I don't know why. Because I actually don't mind Tennessee. I like what they do. I got Alabama going up there and pulling the upset.
Alabama, all right. Rooster.
Actually, the line is Alabama by 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's a coin toss right
Yeah,
there.
but it's at Tennessee, so that's really a touchdown.
Yeah. Who do you got, Rooster?
I don't disagree with everything that Rebel just said. It seems like Tennessee started out hot out of the gates, and they've lost their way a little bit, or they're doing the same thing, and the other teams have made their adjustments to them. They got a young quarterback. Their playbook's limited, and the other teams are making adjustments, and I got Alabama winning this one big. I think they're going to go in there and smack the shit out of Tennessee.
It won't be big, but
If Tennessee...
All the talk that's going on in Tuscaloosa right now about coaching and 2 bad games, 10 bad quarters, blah, 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 blah. All this is fuel on the fire for that coach to get in there. I watched them kick the crap out of Georgia in the first 2 quarters. He's going to put together a 4-quarter plan against Tennessee, and he's going to bring it to the table.
So here's what's going to be. To me, it's what's going to be determined. I'm going to come back around. I'm sorry. I'm taking my time up here. Is that middle linebacker is that good? Alabama's going to try to run it up the middle on them, and if they have success doing that, they're going to have to shift the safety over to replace that back line. And when they do, it's Milroe over the top the rest of the night. You're going to find out early in that game if Tennessee can compete.
All right, so Mountain Man, do that shot while we discuss this.
So both Miss Hurd and Son of Sam both took Tennessee, and I agree with them. We sat here earlier and talked about how bad Alabama's defense has gotten and how DeBoer is an offensive coach and the defense is a problem. And we also agree that Tennessee, I know they lost their linebacker, but Tennessee's defense is one of the best ones we've seen this year. That game
Most consistent.
That game is in Neyland, 115,000 strong. The last time that game was in Neyland, Saban took his boys in there and got beat. It was like 51-49, something crazy.
They put the goalpost in the river.
They threw the goalpost in the river.
That was one of the greatest college football games I ever
That
watched,
was
by the
fun
way.
game to watch.
I believe in my heart, because that game is in Neyland, I think Tennessee gets it's going to be close as shit. It might be a 1-point game. It could be like an Oregon-style Ohio State game where it's back and forth. I think Alabama will make a mistake late, and I think Tennessee pulls it out. Tennessee.
Wow.
And
Lucky top.
2 years ago, that was when you started looking at Tennessee seriously.
Again, because
Yeah,
they've been
Yep.
irrelevant for since Fulmer had left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, people have been looking at them seriously since then. So, Cheeks, who you got in that game?
He's waiting for that Gator moment.
I think Alabama's going to do it because of multiple reasons. I think they're more talented, actually, and I also think that they saw how close it got against USC, and they never want to see that again.
Was that your most scientific reasoning for that?
It is, because I usually use my feelings,
And,
and this is why I'm second to last.
and Chief, who do you got in this game?
All right. Alabama almost lost South Carolina last week. They lost to Vandy the week before. They didn't play great the week
They
before.
should have lost to Georgia.
They should have lost to Georgia.
But they didn't.
Tennessee lost to Arkansas, who I think is looking strong. They're on the cusp of being ranked. If they win this weekend, and I picked them, they'll be ranked. I got Tennessee, another close game. The fact that it's in Neyland only helps.
So apparently the goalposts are going into the water again this week.
Oh, God.
Or
Well, they
will
paid
that-
that fine gets bigger and bigger every time you do it. So I don't know.
Well,
if
they,
you
they raised the money. They raised money. They did. They sold pieces of the goalpost.
That was Vanderbilt.
But they've never done something like
that's
that.
right.
It's new.
It was
Yeah.
100. So it's
Damn.
compounding every time you do it. That was their
That's
first
right.
time ever. That was 100. Arkansas, when they rushed against Tennessee, was $300,000. So
So they've done it 3 times.
Ooh.
you know what? They called one donor. Pay the fine. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Do it again next week, and I'll pay it again. Click, and they'll hang up.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Do you think that's really true?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I would love to know that kind of money. I
Hey,
know
if I was a millionaire, if I was a millionaire WVU grad, and they threw the goalpost in the Monday the River, I would cut the check right now. Absolutely.
All right.
Wow.
All right, so
I
next
can do that
game.
too.
Next game, Nebraska at number 16, Indiana. Indiana's undefeated. That's the reason why I brought this game into it. And Nebraska's 5-1. They haven't. This type of game between these two teams hasn't happened in 2 decades, probably.
Yeah.
What? Indiana hasn't been relevant. They've been relevant once in the last 20 years, and Nebraska wasn't relevant. It's been way more
So
than
it's
20
probably
years.
been 40 years. Since
It could be 40 years.
this is the most relevant game between these two teams in the history of college football.
We can say that because nobody's going to look it up.
Our people in the back are looking up right now just to fact check us, and they're gonna put it on Twitter like they're fucking liars.
It really- how many shots you've
In
had.
COVID year, Indiana was good with Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, that was the last time they were.
Right, well,
But who was
Can I
Nebraska
pick
then?
first?
Yes.
Cheeks, go ahead.
I'm picking first, and this is totally based on feelings. Because Hanger has had such a love for Nebraska for all the years I've known him, yes, I picked Nebraska.
Oh my, that's the you're trying to get my heart.
1,000%.
I am.
Do you know the history of what's going on in Indiana and why they're even
Sig Signetti.
Sig Signetti, baby. I wish he would just have a Lucy just hanging off his lips when he goes to the
Googling.
game. It would be amazing. Okay, this guy
I know about their basketball.
brought James Madison, one of the biggest party schools in the country, on the map for football, and now he's over at Indiana. He played quarterback at Indiana. The guy is bleeding Hoosier red. He's out there. He's putting all of his.
So you tell me I need to cross my out.
I'm telling you, you're going to keep yours because you're already at the bottom. I'm going Indiana. The offense is freaking good. Do not underestimate Indiana in this game. Sorry, Nebraska. I think Nebraska is overrated. Haven't played much of anybody. I got Indiana by 7.
Luckily, nobody has said blank team by 50, right? Because I'm going to say it, Nebraska by 50, baby!
Wow.
100.
Gibbity, Nebraska by
50!
It's
Biatch!
It's 100, not 50.
100. All right. That's
Inflation.
Inflation. The inflation. Okay, there we go. So put me down for Nebraska.
Gotcha.
It's at Indiana.
I don't care.
Nebraska doesn't play.
Man, Nebraska's going in there. We got the quarterback.
Can you please get to my man right over here? He's going to explode.
We spent way too much time in this game to begin with. Indiana wins by 7.
Chief!
Indiana.
All right. Am I the only person going to Nebraska? Oh,
No,
wait.
me.
No, Cheeks went to Nebraska. Just because she
Yeah,
loves
'cause
me so much.
yes.
And who do you got there, Rebel? This is the guy that always has the best commentary on
makes sense of
games that are just like random games.
So Coach Bagadix was at James Madison last year. And when he left, he poached the best talent from James Madison. I'm throwing up on the table saying this. Like, my stomach fucking hurts right now
James
saying
Madison's
this.
6-1. They're still
Don't
fine.
sugarcoat it. Tell us how you
God,
feel.
it makes me want to puke that he went there and had success and took some of those bagadouches from up in the Shenandoah Valley with him. Because James Madison can go to hell. They're not bad. He's a great coach. He will not be at Indiana very long. He's going to be the next James Franklin that goes to a smaller school and has an opportunity to coach at a big school.
Come on, West Virginia. Come on.
Indiana wins the game, and they are going to make some noise. I don't think they win the conference because, again, he brought a lot of talent. His kind of football is fun to watch, but he's going to get outmatched when he plays a better team. They beat Nebraska this weekend at Indiana because Bloomington, when they do have a good football team, they get excited. That's one thing I give Indiana about. They're a basketball school, but when their football team is good, they get excited about it, and they know those moments are fleeting, so they take it on as best they can.
Once a millennium.
How strong is their defense?
It don't
Because
matter. That offense is that good.
Nebraska's defense is the number 5 defense in the country right
Against
now.
who? Colorado?
Just in whoever they've played. I'm just saying, like, everyone's played who they've played. So
Thank you, Ray. That was
very insightful.
that was mind
That was
blowing.
3 shots in insightful.
everybody
right
has played
who they've played. So everybody's rank is
Let's
based
talk about
upon
their
who they
defense.
played.
Booker McFarland over here.
Yeah.
All I know is Ray and I mean, Hanger and I will have
If
this
they score a
last laugh.
touchdown, once they go past the goal line, that's going to be a touchdown.
To give credit,
Yeah.
the Nebraska defense will decide this because Indiana, 31 points, 77 points, 42, 52, 42, 41. They've not scored under 40 points in a single game
And
this
what's
year.
the most points that have been scored against Nebraska?
31 by Illinois.
They're a good team.
Oh, the one-ranked team that Nebraska played.
Yeah.
They played UTEP. They played Colorado. They played
What do they hold Colorado to?
10 points.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty.
Do you remember the
dynamic
weather that
offense.
day? Do you remember? It was windy that day, my friend.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Northern Iowa, congratulations.
Cut that out again.
Yeah, hell.
Every time I say JC, I have to cut it out of the show. Good. I apologize.
Northern
You just need to
Iowa.
say Gary, damn it. It's
It worked out just fine. They held the Northern Iowa Cyclones to 3 points. Congratulations.
What?
Northern Iowa is not
Is that a community
Can we
college?
move, can we
Whatever.
move on to the serial
Northern Iowa's the
killer?
All right.
Quick serial
Mountain,
killer.
listen, Mountain Mama needs to choose, okay?
Yeah.
Who do you got? You got
We
Nebraska.
just talked him into Indiana.
So
What's Son of Sam say?
Son of Sam misheard both like Indiana. I wanted to pick the Cornhuskers.
Oh.
But I remember that there was a certain press conference when this man, Sig Signetti, got hired. He said, I win games, Google me. Give me Indiana. Give me Indiana
Yeah, baby.
all day.
He said, I win game. Wow.
And look it up.
I
That's his
almost want
press
to change.
conference.
I would almost want to change my
By the way,
choice.
as a
to
guy
that.
who has a coach that thinks it's okay just to have a good tailgate and a nice weather, I love when a coach says, I win games, Google me. Give me Signetti. Give me
Man.
Indiana all day.
I'm a fan of Signetti now, but I'm still going Nebraska, baby.
Yep, no changes.
I said I wasn't going with my heart anymore either.
That's all I ever do. That's why I'm in second and last place.
All right. The final game of the week. Number 1, Texas,
Aye.
playing against number 5, Georgia at home. Top 10 total offense and defense is by what team?
Texas.
Texas, exactly. Georgia, probably in the top 30 offense and defense. I don't even know for sure if they're even in the top 30 on their defense. So I'm
the Alabama
going.
game.
I got to go with Texas on this one. I mean, in Austin, you got it. Should we just move on to the next game?
Wow.
There's
hold on.
no more.
Do we all feel like Texas
Excellent.
is going to win this game?
Is anybody picking Georgia?
Yes.
Here we go.
All right, so why are you picking Georgia there, Rebel?
Mr. Contrarian.
Texas hadn't played a major game this year,
So this is the champ. This is gonna be the biggest challenge they've had.
and they haven't had to figure it out yet. And Georgia has.
Where's the game at?
It's in Austin.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. They've lost plenty of games in Austin. It's Georgia wins the game
Why?
because they're
Their quarterback is not a better quarterback.
no. It ain't about Ewers. It ain't about Ewers.
Timmy is still the quarterback in Georgia.
Yeah.
Timmy, he's still the quarterback in Georgia.
It don't matter. They're going to go down there. It's going to be a tight game. Texas hadn't had to play in a tight game. Georgia just came back from 28 points and should have won a ball game. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sarkisian has a history of not knowing what to do when you squeeze his balls a little bit. And so, therefore, this game gets tight late. Georgia pulls out a late win by a point, 3 points, something like that.
When someone's balls are sitting on the table, it's kind of hard.
And there's
to
a hammer
squeeze
hanging over them.
Yeah.
You better think quick or they get crushed.
those. So you think that
gotta go to the
Sarkisian's team is going to get crushed?
They don't get crushed. They're going to lose the game. But it's going to be because Sarkisian hasn't had to think under pressure yet this year.
They're going to lose a game, but it's going to be to Florida when I'm there at that
Oh.
game in 3 weeks.
Where? Florida, Georgia?
Jacksonville.
Florida versus Texas in Austin.
Oh. So I got Georgia beating Texas. If I'm the only guy, then so be it.
I just find it. I mean, look, I've lost a lot of respect for Georgia. I didn't think much of them before, but Austin, Texas, prime time. Clinton Ewers, Steve Sarkisian. I mean, I feel differently about Steve Sarkisian. I think he's coming into his own. I think he's finally starting to be that guy. I just don't think Georgia has the talent. I think their problem is Carson Beck, and I can't be convinced otherwise.
No, I
I'm
wouldn't
never
disagree with that at all.
Ever convinced.
But what I'm going by is Texas has played Colorado State, a shitty Michigan team, San Antonio, Louisiana Monroe, and a shitty Mississippi State. Oklahoma's shitty. So I'm telling you, this is the first legit game they've had to play this year.
That's true.
They're not battle tested. I don't give a damn if that game's on the moon. It won't matter. Because you're telling me Austin, Texas is more intimidating than playing in Athens? Absolutely not. Under no circumstances.
No, of course not.
The two opponents who sort of have, Michigan and Oklahoma, held Texas to 34 and 31 points. Everybody else did. Oh, and Mississippi State held them to 35 points.
I will say this again. Georgia gave up how many points to Mississippi?
28. Oh, 31.
Mississippi State. Okay, I'll rest my case. I just can't.
We're going to find out next week.
We're going to find out. That's why we play the games. However, we just talked
What
about
time's
this.
the game?
8 o'clock.
Is this the Ohio State effect that we just talked about earlier? In that Texas has been rolling through teams, Georgia's a little bit more tested. Are they going to?
They've been kicked in the ass a couple times.
Yep.
So everyone said Texas except for you?
Yeah.
I
haven't given my pick yet.
Well, who you got, Rooster?
You need another shot?
Hit me up.
He's been thinking about it.
I just offered you another
By the way, let me preface. The man sends. No, you may not have to send money down to Athens. A little bit of money.
Send
A little bit of
something
money
down
down to Athens for his
I just
beautiful
offered you
daughter
a
that
drink and you
goes
said
there.
no.
Oh, okay.
Texas
So-
by 17. Let's go.
All right. Chief, you got Texas too.
I got Texas.
And Shakes.
Yeah, Texas.
All right,
They
so-
got Texas.
Who did
Except
Landon
for
pick?
you. I don't know. We haven't listened to
I don't
it
remember.
yet.
I listened.
We have to block that part
I
out.
thought we already listened to it.
Yeah, because we already listened to it.
No,
You
I have
guys-
listened to it. I can't remember because I'm drinking.
He said Texas.
Yeah, well, you know
you go.
what? I'll be lucky, Pierre.
And nobody that's listening to the show is going to go back to fact check us either.
It's all right.
So-
I'm going to be up by 3 games over him after Rebel. Over Rebel. After
Are you just going against him just because at this point? Okay.
No.
All right.
Maybe.
Because that's not a winning strategy.
Razorbacks.
All right.
Get the hell out of here.
Last topic of the night is going to be what the fuck? Does anyone have a what the fuck?
Yeah.
I do. Wait.
Whoa. Are you kidding me? The boat whore has what
Wait,
the fuck?
you have a what the fuck?
He has a what the fuck.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I brought it up a couple times.
It's what the
first
fuck is
time.
nobody has a big enough boat on this lake that he can whore off of.
Well, actually, I have a couple.
He's a little pissed that no one has a sleeper
There's a
boat.
certain someone on this table who hasn't invited me on his boat yet. We won't talk about
I'll
that.
drive you home on my boat.
That's
if you want
okay.
me
No,
to.
that's okay. That's
Is
okay.
that a metaphor?
So anyway, my what the fuck goes out to Coach Neil Brown. I've said it a couple times tonight, and it pisses me off. The man is 3-16 against ranked teams. Those ranked teams, by the way, didn't finish the season ranked. He's 0-8 in the last 8 games against ranked Big 12 opponents. Okay, and there's been only 4 teams in the last 6 years that has not been ranked in the top 25: Rutgers, Vanderbilt, Texas Tech, and West Virginia. And this guy has the nerve on Monday to tell Sports Illustrated in a press conference, recorded, that, hey, I would tell the fans, you tailgated, the weather's nice, you had a good time, I know you want to win games, but hey, it is what it is. Fuck him. It's It's time to get him out of there. My man, son of Sam's not going to agree with me. He likes the nice guy thing. Get him out of there and get me Sig Signetti in West Virginia, please.
Can you do me a favor and tell me how you really feel after
Yeah,
this?
I don't sugarcoat
I cannot understand how this guy can say that. I mean, we are. Look, laugh if you want. West Virginia's in the Big 12. We are a Power 4 school. This is not Sun Belt. This is not Troy, where he came from. This is not Appalachian State or Liberty or any of those bullshit other schools. But anyway, go back to Troy. Win your 6 games a year, where only half the people go watch the games, and get the hell out of Morgantown. Thank you. I'm done.
Wow, what the?
The Indiana coach runs the kind of offense they're used to seeing up in Morgantown, just by the way. So
Give me Sig Signetti.
My what the fuck is what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Is that
You start calling him Bullhorn, he starts coming down the shed, baby.
that motherfucker?
Disclaimer: Neil Brown is a nice guy.
I'm never going to cross him. That's for sure.
I don't think so, man. You
No,
should have did like
you say, Mount
you
Mama's
should have started chucking the fireball as you
I
ended
think that's
that,
what it was.
and that would have won
I
the
mean,
game.
if Dabo
yeah,
or who's your
yeah.
guy, Fran Fraschilla, and your guy, I don't know who your coach
Sig
is,
Signetti.
and Dabo
Sean Clark.
and Lincoln Riley told the fan base, "Hey, the weather's nice. Have a good tailgate."
he
I know
smoked
you
a
want to-
doobie before. Give
What
him a
would,
break.
what would you all say?
Just so you know, nobody's ever said the weather's really nice in Syracuse, so that's never going to happen.
No, that happens every time Lincoln Riley plays.
I mean,
First game of the year in Boone. After that, that's all.
I mean, all jokes aside, what would you all think? What would you think of Dabo Swinney said?
I think the guy's trying to get
think-
fired. He's going to take his check and he's going to go to the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
I don't think Dabo would say that.
That was literally the longest what the fuck ever.
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 That's like a 2.5 minute soliloquy.
Chief, do you have a what the fuck for me?
Not anymore.
All right, that was enough of what the fuck for
Right,
you.
yeah.
All right, well you're raising your hand there, Rebel. Come on, give it to me, baby.
I mean, for me, this is different.
Are you gonna lay your balls on the table for this?
I'm not Brookie D. Cookie. No, my balls ain't quite that big. His wife says his hang in the water, but that's another conversation. Is my what the fuck is the Cleveland Browns.
That's a good one.
Wow.
The Cleveland Browns legitimately were on the up and up.
Yeah.
They were moving in the right direction
When?
in the last 5 years.
yeah, they
Okay.
2 playoff
Pre
periods.
Deshaun Watson.
Until-
They
this
then
year, yes.
they get rid of Mr. Oklahoma. They bring in the worst NFL contract by far to Mr. Jack Shack, who has come up there and done
I don't
nothing.
think he was jacking. I think he was getting jacked.
I heard it was a bottle. Never mind.
Bring your own
He's
towel.
right now 0 for 26 on third down for the last ever 0 for 26.
Yep.
You take that contract, and then today they trade Amari Cooper, their probably best
Yep.
athlete, even though he's a little long in the
Yep.
tooth, away. They're cleaning house again. They are the Pittsburgh Pirates. They don't give a damn. They just want to make some money. They don't care about the product on the field, even though they've had opportunities. So I feel bad for that fan base. What the fuck? The
What
best
the
part.
fuck?
The best part of Cleveland moved to Baltimore, and let's put it to you like that.
Wow.
Wow.
We just lost our 3 or 4 fan base of Browns. That's for sure.
We do
No,
have a few.
I bet they would agree.
No,
with
they
you.
would agree with everything I just said. 'Cause they're pissed
Yeah.
because they've had opportunities, and because that team has been mismanaged. They aren't the garbage up in Charlotte. They ain't too far away from it at this point right now.
Wow.
How about the
They're getting
Jaguars? You want to throw them in there? The Jaguars.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to talk about the what the fuck off the cuff, we're going to talk a little bit of NFL. How many touchdown passes did the Jacksonville Jaguar wide receivers drop against a team I root for, the Bears? There was 4 TD passes on 3 different drives that were dropped. So everybody wants to talk about Sunshine, how terrible he is. They have good wide receivers there. They're just not performing.
catching
The
them, yeah.
ball was in their hand. They were
That's
beautiful passes.
he statistically is the same as Bortles at this same in their
I'm-
career.
I'm just
And
saying-
they cast him to the wayside.
All I'm saying is, you can look at the paper
not
all you
Trevor
want.
Lawrence's problem.
On the field. The boys putting the ball on the numbers, and these guys are
the
dropping.
boy
ball.
should have left
Kind of
Jacksonville.
fun. It's kind of funny you two bring up the last 2 quarterbacks that basically ended the guaranteed contract in the NFL. They'll
All right.
never see another one.
All right. Well,
What the fuck, Chief?
how about the Cowboys this week?
Oh, no.
the Cowboys. I
No,
love
don't
it.
use Mike. Don't.
Oh no, you got lots of information. You
Don't
can
use
you can
mine.
go off of him and still get the Cowboys.
I
That's
just
true.
I just have to say, I remember when Detroit was the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. It didn't seem that long ago.
I love it. I love it.
That's true.
I don't know anything about the Cowboys because
They suck.
They also had a score that's never been seen in the NFL before.
You did it. That was mine.
Was that the first 47-9 score in the NFL? Wow.
All I'm saying is it was a win for the Lions, but it was a tremendous loss for the Lions.
Yeah.
They're all pro defensive end is out Hutchinson.
Yep.
That leg be broke.
No,
Okay.
what was most impressive? His leg. You've seen the video. It's terrible.
Yeah.
They showed him close up. He went, ah! I broke my leg. I mean, that's how he said. I'm like, dude, that dude's hard ass.
Jerry Jones, I thought his head was going to explode.
It was his 82nd birthday. Anyways,
so let's segue into me. So Jerry Jones's 82nd birthday was on Sunday, and the gift that the Cowboys gave them keeps on giving. So he had them blur the score across the bottom of the board when they took the picture to go on social media, and
nobody missed that piece of it.
Yeah, 47-9.
They were trying to say how many fans they had, and they were trying to look at how many fans.
Yeah, we had 93,000 fans show up, and they did blur the score. And then, on top of it being his 82nd birthday and the biggest disappointment of his entire life other than his kids.
Wow.
But
y'all talking about me? Wow.
Jeez. Then he goes on the radio.
Comic's generic.
Then he goes on the radio Monday morning, and he's so pissed at the guy interviewing him, saying, "Do you think you should have done something different during the summer? Maybe made some trades or something? Maybe done something?" Yeah, and he was so pissed he threatened the guy's job, the radio guy's job. He said, "Do you want to keep this job?"
You know what I said to that? What the fuck, man?
What the fuck?
All right, so that all being said, we might have to turn this show into a 2-part show because it went long.
It did.
38 minutes ain't bad.
Times 3.
Well. We'll sound like chipmunks tomorrow. With that being said,
I'm going to put this at 2.5 times speed. So anyway, I think that this was a good show. Shots included. That was fun, right?
Always.
Shots every show.
Yeah.
And with that being said, thank you for listening to Guys in the Bar Talking Sports.
See y'all.